GamingBolt presents 15 things every Destiny player is guilty of. If you've never played Destiny, Bungie's shared world first-person shooter, then you've missed what many consider to be the best community in all of gaming. Of course, many others consider it the worst game ever made. The point is, Destiny players have been guilty of a number of things, highlighting the sheer madness the game can inspire. Let's look at 15 of those things below, and remember, Destiny players probably don't do any of this now, but there's always been that one time. Another character. In year 1 and 2 of Destiny, one thing became abundantly clear. If you wanted to get the best loot out of raids, you'd better make multiple characters of the same class. Given how bad the drop rates were for Vault of Glass and Crota's End, especially when it came to Helms, many players resorted to creating the same class and completing the game numerous times for chances at more loot. Multiple new characters. When Crota's End first released, someone set a record for hitting max light level first. Granted, this only required 4 armor pieces as opposed to all gear at 400 light level, but how did he do it? Why, by making the same class numerous times, cheesing the raid, getting the armor for one character, then deleting the others to make new alts, and continuing the process. While that doesn't describe all players, we definitely know a few who made a Titan and then deleted it in favor of a Warlock, and more loot chances. Defending the story. Don't get us wrong, Destiny has a story. It's just that the game does a pitiful job of actually telling it, relying on everything from cliches to poor pacing and throwaway plot devices. And yes, we know the Taken King story was alright. However, thanks to the stories in the Grimoire, several fans have painted this picture of Destiny's story being good, which is fine and all, but when the darkness is something Bungie just made up, and the Exo Stranger's mysteries remain unsolved, we're going to disagree. Nerf calls. Sure, you could argue that Thorn, The Last Word, Matador 64, and so on were overpowered. However, from there, things just snowballed on the nerf slope. Got killed by a sniper rifle? Nerf it. Shotgun's too powerful thanks to sniper rifle nerfs? Remove headshot damage and nerf that further. Oh, you got killed by MIDA multi-tool, one of the most balanced weapons in the game? That's getting nerfed. Admit it, if not you, then someone you know has suggested some kind of nerf. Crying about Grimoire in Destiny 2. Some people, for some reason, really love the Grimoire cards from Destiny. The very same cards that couldn't even be read in-game and which contained, according to players, the real story of Destiny. When Bungie announced that it would incorporate the lore in-game for Destiny 2 and remove Grimoire cards, Lorepocalypse was screamed from the rooftops. This was more misunderstanding than anything, but still ridiculous to see. Grinding for perfect rolls. House of Wolves introduced weapon re-rolling and letting players roll and roll and roll for the perfect mix of perks on their Matador 64. When re-rolling was taken out, players would grind several other Crucible activities for that perfect IS Luna. The point is, don't underestimate some hardcore players' desires for perfect Tier 12 stat rolls or perfect weapons, which is funny since random weapon rolls and Tier 12 stats have been removed from Destiny 2, but I digress. 3 of Coins Exploitation. The launch of the Taken King, Destiny's so-called savior of sorts, came with a new item called 3 of Coins. This consumable could be used to highly increase your chances of an exotic engram when killing an Ultra, aka a boss. The funny thing is that it had no cooldowns. Players basically took to farming weak bosses to gain tons of exotics. Hilariously, those same players would then complain about 3 of Coins ruining the hunt for exotics for them. 3 of Coins was subsequently changed, and really, the less you try to analyze it, the better. Skill-based matchmaking rants. You know why you didn't win that last match? It was because the other team was better and your team was worse. Which is a problem because, well, you're clearly more skilled than everyone else. It's the skill-based matchmaking which is forcing you to carry so hard. Granted, skill-based matchmaking was pretty crazy in Destiny to the point that connection quality was compromised, but claiming that a purely connection-based matchmaking is the solution is wrong, because every PvP game has some kind of skill-based matchmaking to ensure some kind of balanced game. Regardless, skill-based matchmaking has been a point of contention for many a Destiny PvP player over the years. Microtransactions. Microtransactions are despicable by default, right? In fact, one of the major controversies for Destiny the Taken King was having to buy a special edition for 3 new emotes, which rolled over into spending $20 for the same, and then they were free later anyways. However, that didn't stop many players from buying emotes, sparrows, and other cosmetics when the Eververse launched. Yes, even when some of the free events were lame. Complaining about content. If you play Destiny right now, you'll probably be overwhelmed with all of the stuff to do. Strikes, story missions, raids, probably Prison of Elders if you hate life. But experience Destiny one major content drop at a time, and the lack of content becomes a continuous complaint. Thankfully, the days of people feeling Bungie owes them for the lackluster launch are gone, and most people simply enjoy the game so much as to demand more. Still, the craving for content seems never ending. Nightfall complaints. Whether you're a Year 1 veteran or hopped on for Year 3, the Nightfall will always have been a point of contention for you. The complaints are endless. The modifiers are terrible, the strike is terrible, the drops are terrible, and so on and so forth. However, complain as you might, you'll always do it. Heck, you'll do it 3 times and then come back next week, hoping for something good, even if it's that icebreaker you so badly want from Zavala's bounty. Replaying content. At several points in its history, Destiny wasn't filled to the brim with content, mostly because old content was invalidated, see The Taken King and Rise of Iron at their launch periods. The game also has a history of recycling content, taking old raids, strikes, and so on to add a few twists. Regardless whether it's the Nightfall, the strike playlist, the daily story mission, or a raid, you've probably done the same content umpteen number of times in Destiny while complaining about the lack of content. You can't stop, of course, no one can. That guy was lagging. You've probably played a Crucible match and noticed someone is teleporting or your shots aren't registering. Then again, you've probably received a message about your character lagging all over the place. Honestly, it's a number of things that affect these, including peer-to-peer network structure, Destiny's tendency to match you with people around the world, connection quality of the host, and so on. However, just remember, not every loss is because of lag. Hating the state of Crucible. Bungie can seemingly do nothing right with Crucible. Changes to hand cannons, making pulse rifles the new meta? Obviously, you hate it. Ditto for the changes to special ammo in the Crucible, which saw players lose it completely upon dying. Not all changes were bad. Heavy ammo no longer dropping on death, and only heavy box to fight for in trials are good things. But something or other may not have sat right with you regarding the Crucible, and naturally, you've blamed Bungie. Blaming Activision. Then again, you've also blamed Activision from time to time. Destiny having microtransactions, DLC costing too much, and not having enough content, or which should have been present in the base game, etc., are usually because Activision are money-grubbing corporates with no conscience. And hey, no one's saying that Activision isn't trying to make a buck. Its timed PlayStation DLC is proof of that. But Bungie being innocent in all of this is just wishful thinking. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.